In 1994, Jon van Tetzner and Geir Ivarsøy met while working at a project at Telenor. Telenor didn't believe in their project and allowed them to take it with them to work on it on their own. In 1995, they founded Opera Software. And from 2000 to 2009, they grew from 15 to 750 employees and from 8 nationalities to 55, right here in Oslo, Norway. Opera won many awards through the years. The last award they received was the Oslo Innovation Award, stating that through their multicultural recruitment policy, they had been a part of placing Oslo on the world map as an attractive place to live and to work. I've been asked many times, how did we do this? How did we get them to stay? Were there problems? Was it tough? Well, there were some obstacles, not problems big enough to mention, and we had fun. I know. I'm Anne, and I was there. The first Christmas party we arranged was one of my lessons. I thought it would be a good idea to invite everyone for a glass of champagne in the canteen before we left to the place we were to have our event. I underestimated the differences in the culture of Scandinavian drinking for Americans and Asians. That was the first year that we ever did it. It was also the only year that we ever did it. This, by the way, is Tatsuki, who opened our Japanese office and is there running it today. When we started entertaining, I asked for volunteers so that we could make our own choir, have our own dancers, and entertain each other. Every year we kept it a secret, and the employees were just as shocked, surprised, and happy when they turned around and saw who was entertaining them this year. I have to say they've become quite professional too, and it switches every year. We even included the leaders in the entertainment, and there's Rolf Assev, a part of the executive team that built up our sales department. Because Opera Software was an international company at the outset, our CVs and applications came from all over the world. We didn't care if they came from the moon, if they had the right qualifications for the job. In 2004, we were growing so rapidly, I had so much to do, I needed an assistant. I hired Kripanjali from India. He had a master's in HR and a bachelor's in political science, and for me, it was just a masculine name. I said, get him here. I was very surprised when Kripanjali knocked on my door. She is still with Opera today. In fact, she's bought an apartment here in Oslo. She's also married an Indian and brought him here, too. We used volunteers to take care of each other. When I spent a weekend in the hospital with an Italian girl that could not speak Norwegian and an Italian mother that could not speak English, we needed help. We made the welfare team, again, by simply asking for volunteers who would help the newcomers to make sure that they acclimate outside of the Oslo office also. Multicultural integration, caring for your employees doesn't stop at the end of the office door. We adopted kittens. We visited at the hospital. We communicated about anyone needing special help. And I believe that allowing the employees and helping them to help each other actually enriches their lives and ultimately will help you as a leader too. This is Jon van Tetzner, our CEO. We started an international cooking to be able to share the different culture when it came to eating habits, food. So once a month, someone from another country would join the canteen cooking team and serve their country's traditional fare. This is a big hit at Opera. The canteen is very important. This is Jon making Iceland lamb. Our canteen personnel are just as important as the janitors, as the CEO. In fact, we hired our own janitor at opera, not wanting cleaning companies that didn't switch people all the time and didn't really have the opera heart. He is still working for opera, an employee, and in fact, he was also given options in the company. We have a sushi cook, hot meals. It was very, very important to give all of the employees a hot meal. It pays back in effort and work. There were many, many things we did along the way to enrich the living situation during the office hours. People worked hard, they deserved it. I think that the one activity that we started in 2007 is one I'm most proud of. It's called Bridge the World. It allows for employees to apply to work from another branch outside of Scandinavia for up to 6 months. Maybe in Iceland, maybe in the US, maybe in Japan or China. Conrad from America took his wife and his child to Chandigarh, India, where we had an office. They lived in that house. His neighbors lived there. They didn't have running water, but they became friends. And when his wife returned to opera, she blogged about this. And what I was most struck with was her saying that communication, can bring us closer to understanding each other and lenient of each other's beliefs. I do believe that the more we share, the more curious we are about each other and each other's cultures, be it your neighbor here in Norway or your neighbor in Japan. The quicker we tear down the barriers, and we are enriched in our lives and in our companies. We do know that cultural diversity is only positive. It's important to have fun. It's important to keep it light. But none of this would matter if it weren't for compassionate leadership. The leaders of the company gave, from the outset, a caring mentality to the rest of us that worked there. We wanted to take care of each other. I think it's important to remember that it has to come from the top. Caring is not something you can learn. It has to be there. And fear grows out of the things that we think. It lives in our minds. Compassion grows out of the things that we are and lives in our hearts. Some people think only intellect counts. Knowing how to solve problems, knowing how to get by, knowing how to identify an advantage and seize it. But the functions of intellect are insufficient without courage, love, friendship, compassion, and empathy. In 2007, we won our first award as the most attractive workplace in Norway. We rated number 2. Microsoft was number 1. At the awards ceremony, while we were on stage, I tapped the man from Microsoft on the shoulder, and he looked down at me, and I said, "We're right behind you." He looked down at me and smiled and said, "I know, and we're keeping our eye on you too." We could never have done what we did at opera if it had not been for the founding nature of Geir Ivarsø and Jon van Tetsnit. Caring is the most important thing. When Jon hired me, he said, "Make sure my employees are happy and that they have something other than frozen pizza for lunch." I do believe that leadership is not something you do to people. It's something you do with people. Thank you.